If you're a desk worker who's getting back pain after putting long hours in at your desk, now you're curious if a sit-to-stand or standing desk would help fix your back pain, I'm going to break down the exact things you need to know in this video about why you should or shouldn't get a standing desk. My name's Dr. Matt Pennetti. I'm a neurostructural chiropractor here in Centennial, Colorado, and I work with a lot of corporate athletes. Those are people who are working consistently at a desk, whether they're sitting or standing. And what I find around sitting desks and standing desks is it's not a one-size-fits-all. And it's not that the sitting desk is terrible and the standing desk is so much better. Before I get into the specifics, I think it's important that we understand your body is designed to move. It's sitting itself is not a bad position, it's a rest position. It's just not supposed to be done all the time in the way we do it, because most people aren't changing their position when they sit down. They sit at a 90-degree angle with their knees facing forward, and that's it. If we were to change our hips here and there consistently, it would make a big difference. But if we were to change the position from seated to standing often enough, that would also make a big difference. Now, if we took the other side of the coin, those who stand regularly, like for example, a bartender, I have bartenders come into my office regularly complaining about back pain. Just like somebody who sits at a desk comes in regularly and complains about their back pain. The only difference between the two people is the position. They're still in one specific position regularly. So while the person sitting might experience more rounding of their shoulders or head carriage where their head shifts forward because they're working over their computer screen like that, the person standing's also going to experience postural issues. A lot of times they're going to have lower back pain because of loading. Maybe they're shifting weight and they're throwing their hip out to one side or the other. Maybe they're bent over if they're doing bartending and they're looking down mixing a drink. Or if the person has a standing desk, they are potentially in a rounded position here with a computer screen that's built too low. So these are things to consider. I guess at the end of the day, it's not a one-size-fits-all. And the best fit is actually to change the positions. So it'd be great if the bartender could sit down consistently to take breaks and then stand back up, just like the desk worker. It's fine to sit down at your computer, but you also need to be standing up. So the standing desk isn't the fix, it's just a great option to add into your repertoire. My suggestion would be every 20 or 30 minutes, you're breaking your position, whether you're sitting for 20 minutes or standing for 20 minutes, and then you switch into the other way. Another thing you can do is take a small trash can or book and place it on the ground by your feet, and then use that trash can as a platform to set your foot on top. As you set your foot on top of that trash can, you change the dynamics and the position of your hips, which also alters your spine and the joints around it. And that change is really important. It helps muscles fire a little bit differently. It gets tissues gliding and moving, which is the point. Too much static, too much standing just like this in a rigid position means tissues are going to start to adhere together. And adhesion is not your friend. It means pain and discomfort. Same thing happens when you're sitting. Sitting, same thing. Adhesions are going to develop, and over time it's going to be harder and harder to stand up comfortably. You're going to get a lot of stiffness and discomfort. Really hard for somebody to stand if they're consistently and not have pain and discomfort if their monitors or keyboards aren't set up properly. So while we're on the topic of a sit-to-stand desk, I think it's also important to understand ergonomics. Your screen should be at eye level. Top third of your screen should be pretty much in line with your eyes. Your elbows and your shoulders should be in a restful position at about 90 degrees, meaning your keyboard should not be up here. That's going to affect your shoulders eventually. And it shouldn't be too low because that can impact your wrists as well. We want it at about 90-degree angle. So screen, eye level, elbows, shoulders about 90 degrees. When you sit down, those positions shouldn't change much. So you want to sit to stand desk that goes up high enough that it can account for that. I'm 6'4". I need a pretty high table that goes up high enough that my screen will maintain that height with me. And then when you sit back down, same thing. You want to have that in that position. So one thing to consider, if you're working on a laptop computer, it's impossible to have healthy ergonomics working from a laptop. You've got to have an external monitor or an auxiliary keyboard in order to be healthy that way. Otherwise, if your screen is up high enough for your eyes to look at, your keyboard is up too high. If your keyboard's down for your arms to be in a healthy position, your screen's too low. So we need one or the other, either an external monitor or an auxiliary keyboard that we can connect in and work off of if you're going to do that consistently for long hours of the day. Now, one other thing to consider is how long this problem has been going on for. If you've been sitting at a desk for more than a year or so, you potentially have created some core problems in your spine. Core problems are joints and tissues that have become so restricted that they're not moving the way they once were designed to. No matter how much yoga and Pilates you do, if these joints are restricted enough, they won't break free and move. You'll get motion, but that motion is going to happen in other joints, not the ones that are specifically tied down and too restricted. And the problem with that is, in those joint spaces where the bones themselves aren't moving like they were designed, the nerves themselves, there's nerves in every single joint space, those nerves are going to become irritated. And that's going to contribute to potentially back pain, but it'll also contribute to other things. If we're talking in the back, those nerves also run to your digestive organs and your eliminative organs and your reproductive organs and down your leg and your feet and toes. So some really important things that go along with nerves that run through your back. And if you've been doing this for too long at a desk, chances are there's some irritation and some restriction in those spaces. If you've never had your spine properly assessed by an expert who looks for structural core problems, I'd strongly encourage you to do that, especially if you plan to continue to work like that for the near future. If you're a corporate athlete, I think it behooves you to take care of your spine and your nervous system, because if you don't, you might not be able to continue doing that kind of work. That's what we do in our practice. We assess the health of your spine and your nervous system to make sure that every single joint is moving the way it was designed to help support your nervous system, which ultimately helps the rest of your body run. And if you'd like to know more, or you'd like to get set up for a free consultation with us, go below the video and click on the link and you can do so there. I hope you got a lot out of this video. I hope a lot of this made sense and it helps you going forward as far as, should you get a sitting desk or stay at your sitting desk, or should you get a standing desk to go in combination with it? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.